And they spent a couple of months doing that. And then they started rehearsing it. On the second day of rehearsal, a vocal rehearsal at Brian's house, this is a scene in Beautiful Dreamer, but it was much, much more serious than what was in the documentary. On that day, around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Brian, who was not happily participating in the rehearsals, stood up and said, "I gotta go." And he left the room. And about 10 minutes later, the band takes a break. And I go downstairs. Brian's music room is upstairs. I went downstairs to where Melinda's office was, and she was in her office. And I said, "Isn't Brian down here with you?" And then she says, "I thought he was up there with you." And she looked out into the driveway, and his car was gone. And for the next 3 hours or so, we had no idea where he was.
Wow.
Uh, so the reality of performing this music had scared him to the point where he drove himself to the emergency room
Yes.
of St. John's Hospital in Santa Monica. And we went there and we left the hospital. And it was knowing that he could put a halt to it if he needed to, gave him the confidence, as he would say, the willpower. He says, "My last name is Wilson. I have willpower. If I don't want to do it, I don't have to do it." But he said, "I have to do it." And so he continued on and slowly, it was like the Titanic's approaching the iceberg, and it's so there's an iceberg. Let's turn away from the iceberg. And he slowly turned away towards the music, and it got better and better and better to the point
Yeah.
where he was actually enjoying rehearsing SMiLE as he heard it come alive, as he heard the band could take on this challenge.